I'm confused because of what CNBC and everybody's running around with Pfizer. When you look at the letters the way you've broken them apart, these two letters, they've actually, and I want to go back to what you said about the data. There's really no data. But they've authorized the use of a vaccine. Does that vaccine currently exist? If I want to walk down, not that I'll do it, but if I want to walk down to the doctor and get the vaccine, can I actually get the one that, quote unquote, has this kind of sketchy, shady FDA approval? Is that available right now to the best of your knowledge, sir?
It's absolutely not available. So the little trick that they've done here is they have issued two separate letters for two separate vaccines. The Pfizer vaccine, which is what is currently available, is still under emergency use authorization, and it still has the liability shield. Once again, the mainstream media has lied to you. I'm sorry to say that. I know it's a shock to this readership. But the product that's licensed is the BioNTech product, which is substantially similar but not necessarily identical. It's called Comirnaty. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it's not yet available. They haven't started manufacturing it or labeling it. And that's the one that the liability waiver will no longer apply to. So the one that's actually licensed is not yet available. And when it does become available, it will no longer have the liability shield. In the interim, the one that does have the liability shield is the Pfizer product, and that's what's currently available, and it's still under emergency use authorization. So that's no change. Okay. The press has just not done their work and figured out what's actually going on here.
Fine, but that's why we have geniuses like you. I just want to make sure something's clear to the audience. And we're trying to be fair to the FDA in this whole process, this CCP virus. The emergency use authorization as it currently stands by the FDA for Pfizer does not allow its use for children under 16. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. The overall blanket approval for the other one, for BioNTech or whatever it's called, the one that's not fully done yet, does that include, as the way you read it, that does not include a full FDA authorization until at least 2023 or 2024 when these other studies are completed, correct?
That's the way I read it. That seems to be the way it's written. And by the way, in terms of the timelines, I just wanted to go back to that. There's a statement that the BLA acknowledges, so that's the license for the BioNTech product. Here's the language. The BLA acknowledges long-term myocardial issues with a 5-year follow-up, which is consistent with the lower range of long-term follow-up for gene therapy products. It appears that banging on them that they haven't applied the gene therapy checklist may have succeeded, and they appear to now, without acknowledging it, starting to apply the requirements that are applied for gene therapy products. But in terms of the cardiac issues, they acknowledge that the myocardial issues will require a 5-year follow-up.
But once this is in place, can the FDA would then have to come back and issue an emergency use authorization for the second one for children, correct? That's clearly not done right now. Is that correct?
I would imagine that what they will do is an emergency use authorization for the pediatric population for Pfizer. So that will keep Pfizer indemnified, because that's something that Pfizer has been seeking in all of their worldwide contracts with other governments, is full indemnification. They will not sell you vaccine unless you waive liability if you're a government, head of state or whatever. So that's the Pfizer position, is we don't want to own the liability here. And, you know, that raises the question, what is it they're so scared about? If these are fully safe vaccines, why does Pfizer believe that it has to have liability protection?
Okay. This coming Saturday, we're going to have Dr. Peter Navarro. Dr. Peter Navarro has been on a leave. I know you haven't seen him on the War Room lately. He's going to start coming back on the show here the next couple of days. So we'll be explaining a big announcement of Dr. Peter Navarro, and you'll see that in the next couple of days. This Saturday, we're going to do a special, Dr. Malone, Peter Navarro, and others. We're going to really pursue this idea of putting together this independent advisory committee like the FDA has, but did not, in their own letter, they did not take it to the advisory committee because they said, well, we didn't see any problems. So we thought all the data said it was fine to us. We'll have the independent advisory committee, and we'll then set up through our website and others that people can make public comment, just like the process should be run. What we want to do is make sure the process is run like the process should be run. Dr. Malone, we got about a minute and a half. Any other closing comments, observations people think of? We look forward to having you back next couple of days. You've become a real anchor to Windward here to our audience. And any following observations, what people should do?
Nice metaphor. I still would love to be able to bend the dialogue towards what Peter and I rolled out in the Washington Times a couple of weeks ago. And there was 2 publications out from Cell Press, one from an extremely high-profile immunologist, Michael Diamond, and vaccinologist at Washington University in St. Louis, that basically validate the key points that Peter and I were making, that by forcing everybody to take vaccine, we're setting up a situation in which we will be selecting for a uniform immune response across the entire human population, which is akin to the logic of monocrop agriculture, wherein if you have something that can exploit that now, if the virus evolves to escape that highly tuned immune response, it's just going to rip through all of us. And we're no longer going to have the protection for the elderly and the high risk that the vaccines do afford. So stay tuned, and I look forward to Saturday's session. Oh,
Dr. Malone,
finally, all this document and all these analyses are available on the Twitter site at RW Malone MD, and they're also available on our website at rwmalonemd.com.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We're going to put it in the live chat.